Hello, KCS students. I'm Mr. Melton, and I teach at Career Magnet Academy. Today's lesson is based on Task 3 for English 1. If you don't have this assignment, it can be found by visiting the KCS website at knoxschools.org. Click See All Resources under the KCS at Home logo. Please be sure to complete the entire week's task before continuing this video. So let's go back and let's look at Task 3 together. You have, of course, your learning targets. Basically, what we want to do is we want to learn how to write an essay. It gave you a student-written essay. In the prompt, as it's written here, it says, adversity has the effect of eliciting talents which in prosperous circumstances would have lain dormant, by Horace. Consider this quotation about adversity from the Roman poet Horace, then write an essay that defends, challenges, or qualifies Horace's assertion about the role that adversity plays in developing a person's character. Support your argument with appropriate evidence from your reading, observation, or experience. We get down here, and then you've got a spot where the next task, and I like this part for you, where you dissected that essay and you separated it by its parts. So, of course, the introduction, then you had a body paragraph with a claim, and continuing down to the conclusion. And you separated that out. It gave you some questions there to get you thinking about effective writing. As we get down here, it goes into an argumentative essay revision checklist. As we continued looking at that student's writing and thinking about, of course, the whole time our own writing. And then here's the part that I want to focus on today. It gets down to the bottom where it says independent writing. And then you have an essay that you had the opportunity to write if you completed task 3. Your task is to defend, challenge, or qualify the following quote by American essayist and social critic H.L. Mencken. The average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. So, I want to flip over to a Google Doc real quick, and I just want to go through some basics. So, one great thing about working at Career Magnet Academy is that I get students from all over the county. And like I said earlier, they come to us with a variety of experiences. And some students will come in and they'll say, well, my 8th grade teacher told me to write like this. And another one will say, well, my 8th grade teacher told me to write like this. The answer is yes, all of the above. Here's the deal. Whenever it comes down to writing an essay, are you making a claim, giving your opinion without stating, in my opinion, and are you backing it up with reasons and evidence? If you're doing that, then you're writing an essay. I have students come to me all the time intimidated because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to write an essay, and they're freaking out. Let me just walk through this with you, and then, like I said, today's goal is let's just remove the fear that surrounds it. So, some of you come to the table looking at a pyramid model for writing an essay where you give a point, then you give evidence and the analysis. Some of you guys come to the table using race or races, where you restate, you answer the question, you cite, and you explain. And then some of you also come to the table looking at, a lot of times they call it 3 C's. I just say 4 C's. Where you give a claim, you cite, you either clarify or cement, same thing, and then you connect. So your task is to defend, challenge, or qualify the following quote by American essayist and social critic H.L. Mencken. The average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. Let's copy and paste that over. Okay, I want to see that prompt in front of me at all times. So you are going to see me, as I go through this, make mistakes. You're going to see me misspell words. You are going to see me say, oh, that's terrible. I think I want to redo that whole sentence and scrap it. And that's part of writing. That's what it is. If we just made complete, wonderful first drafts the first time, then we wouldn't have the writing and revision process. I'm going to actually refute this. I'm going to go against this, okay? And I want to kind of start to introduce people to the idea, the concepts of freedom and safety as we start to refute H.L. Mencken's claim here. H.L. Mencken asserts the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. We'll go ahead and cite it, guys. Okay. The average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. This idea does not fit with the reality Americans and many others around the world experience and live every day. People experience freedom. These freedoms were fought for as people like you and me. Some people say don't use second person, don't use first person in your writing. It weakens it. A college professor might tell you that one day. In the real world of writing, that doesn't hold true. Because most of the time, whenever you're actually writing out there in the real world, you are going to use words like I, me, and my. If you're doing literary analysis for class, don't do this. Okay? So, these freedoms were fought for as people like you and me stepped out of relatively safe realities and into the unknown. Now, I'm ready to go ahead and make my claim. And H.L. Mencken asserts that people desire safety above freedom. However, various figures throughout history, like, who do I want to say? Harriet Tubman and Patrick Henry, have proven that freedom is worth sacrificing one's life to. Let's look at this together now. The saying freedom isn't free has been overused in modern American society. H.L. Mencken asserts the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. This idea does not fit with the reality Americans and many others around the world experience and live every day. People experience freedom. These freedoms were fought for as people like you and me stepped out of their relatively safe realities and into the unknown. H.L. Mencken asserts that people desire safety above freedom. Semicolon, however, comma, various figures throughout history, like Harriet Tubman and Patrick Henry, have proven that freedom is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. Okay, so here we go. We start out with a hook, okay? Then we give you a little bit of information here. We have to introduce the idea of Mencken. We go ahead and give that quote to begin with to let people know kind of what we're talking about. So once we have given the person the basic information that they need, then we start our argument, okay? And this is our first little claim, okay? People experience freedom. I don't like that I've used the word experience in two sentences back to back, but guess what? This is a rough draft, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Once I get past the rough draft phase, I'm probably going to go back and change that word. Okay? These freedoms were fought for as people like you and me stepped out of their relatively safe realities and into the unknown. H.L. Mencken asserts that people desire safety above freedom, paraphrased there, notice. However, various figures throughout history like Harriet Tubman and Patrick Henry, this is my little essay map. So my first paragraph then is going to talk about Harriet Tubman. My second paragraph is going to talk about Patrick Henry, have proven that freedom is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. We have to keep ourselves in check. Does it match up to our prompt? So let's scroll back up here. Defend, challenge, or qualify the following quote. Did we do that in our thesis statement? That's the next question we really start to ask. Does that refute H.L. Mencken's claim? I believe it does. If we go back to our thesis statement, H.L. Mencken asserts that people desire safety above freedom. However, various figures throughout history, like Harriet Tubman and Patrick Henry, have proven that freedom is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. So I've already mapped it out to where I have one paragraph about Harriet Tubman, one paragraph about Patrick Henry. Okay. And you know what? Something I didn't realize that I just did it without even thinking about it, and I don't think that I explained it to you. Do you see right here where I came in and said H.L. Mencken asserts that people desire safety above freedom? Okay, this is where I acknowledge the opposition. This is where I acknowledge that someone has a differing opinion. Okay, and then what it does is it steals their ammunition. Okay, you just essentially understand, anticipate that someone else is going to disagree with you, and then you go ahead and you address that before you make your claim. Now, I like to do it in the thesis statement. I've seen other teachers do it in the last body paragraph. The answer again is yes. Both ways work. Okay, so I'm sorry that I'm throwing that in there now, and I'm sorry if that was unclear earlier, but that's what we do when we write. We just get the ideas down on the page, okay? And that's something that I want you guys to see from me. So then I could go down here and I could write a paragraph that involves Patrick Henry. And I would start then with a topic sentence. And I'll be more clear as I talk about each of the steps as we go, okay? So Patrick Henry is another figure who proves that common people desire freedom over security. Right? Henry is a founding father who helped pave the way for American independence. Henry states. I said I wasn't going to write this. But to be honest with you guys, once you have these systems down, it gets so easy that it's almost easier just to write it, okay? My students at the beginning of the year, they might come in and they say they might be intimidated by writing, but by the end of the semester or end of the year, the writing days are actually the most fun because it's easy, okay? I know that sounds weird, but once you get these systems down and you understand the basic concepts of this is what you do, or these are some techniques, or this is a recipe you can follow to achieve success, then you start to get comfortable with it. So Patrick Henry is another figure who proves that common people desire freedom over security. I make there's my topic sentence. Here's my context. Henry is a founding father who helped pave the way for American independence. Then we say Henry states in his famous words, give me liberty, or give me death. Henry, go ahead and cite it. Here we go. Okay. Patrick, now I explain. Henry meant what he said. Each of the individuals fighting for American liberty could have been executed for their passion, goal, endeavor. We could use 100 different words here for their efforts to separate from the I'm gonna say England. I was gonna say from the crown. From England. Execution and war is not safe. Like I said, guys, sometimes it's really great to just state the obvious. Execution and war is not safe. Henry proves that the average man, and I'm going to use Mencken's words there, proves that the average man prefers freedom at all cost. Okay? And I want to go ahead and add in just therefore, just in case they didn't get it before, therefore, Mencken is incorrect. Just in case. Okay, I can quickly add something in there. So let's go back over it again. We have a topic sentence. Okay, this is our point. Patrick Henry is another figure who proves that common people desire freedom over security. Context for the evidence, which these two things go together, the context and the evidence. Henry is a founding father who helped pave the way for American independence. Henry states, "Give me liberty or give me death." That's our evidence. Then we explain Patrick Henry meant what he said. Each of the individuals fighting for American liberty could have been executed for their efforts to separate from England. Execution in war is not safe. Henry proves that the average man prefers freedom at all costs. Therefore, Mencken is incorrect. So, now we have our introduction. We have body paragraph 1. We have body paragraph 2. Okay, which is what we had mapped out up here in our thesis statement. Okay, so now as we drop down, it is time for our conclusion. Okay, in conclusion, this is going to be just like you know how we narrowed down to our thesis statement in the introduction? This is going to be the exact same way, except we're going to invert that triangle. Okay, we're going to turn that triangle upside down, and we're going to start with our thesis statement, okay, and we're going to repeat that thesis statement first, and then we're going to kind of flow out of it and go from specific then to back to general and try to bring it full circle. What do I mean when I say full circle? Have you ever seen a movie where it starts by, I don't know, sitting at a restaurant, and then at the end of the movie, they're back at the restaurant. Okay, it kind of brings it back to a peaceable ending, and that's what we want to accomplish here. So, in conclusion, Mencken's assertion is not true. And we just state it bluntly, okay? We don't have to say, in my opinion, because we know it's your opinion, you're writing it, and a college professor is going to tell you that one day anyway. So, in conclusion, Mencken's assertion is not true. It is okay to have a strong belief here, all right? The two aforementioned figures are I'm going to take out the word two here. The aforementioned figures are just two of many persons, people, whatever. I'm going to roll with it. The aforementioned figures are just two of many persons who have proven that liberty is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. These people were average. Somebody's going to fuss at you if you use past tense, okay? These people are average humans. They stand as timeless examples of sacrifice and courage. Maybe one can take renewed interest in the saying, freedom isn't free. I probably need to put that in. Never mind. Guess what? It's a rough draft. Okay. Now, I'm going to change it. There. Okay. So now I have my conclusion. So in conclusion, Menken's assertion is not true. I go back to the main claim of my whole essay. The aforementioned figures are just two of many persons who have proven that liberty is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. These people are average humans. They stand as timeless examples of sacrifice and courage. Maybe one can take renewed interest in the saying, freedom isn't free. So if we go back to our very first sentence, the saying, freedom isn't free, has been overused in modern American society. Okay, so then we talked about bringing it back full circle and coming back to that place that we started from. And it's just kind of nice to do that. And it leaves the audience kind of with a peaceful feeling at the end. Okay, so here we go. We have written now an argumentative essay. We started with a quote, we responded to that quote, and we actually argued against what that person had to say. All right. So this is just a recap. We used a similar style that you have used since elementary school, where we make a claim and we back it up with reasons and evidence, and we added some structure to it. So and then once it got down to that specific structure within the body paragraphs, we made a claim, we cited evidence, and we explained. Okay. That's basically, guys, what writing an essay is. Does it have to be that eloquent? Does it have to be that pretty? Does it have to all the things that you can think of? No. Answer the question being asked. All right. Make a claim. Back it up with reasons and evidence. Most of the time, again, guys, you'll be working from a text. Okay, I had to do a little bit of outside research to get this. All I did, though, before we started was look up some quotes, okay, from some people that I knew had sacrificed safety for the pursuit of freedom, okay? So I had looked up a couple quotes. Everything else that you saw was kind of off the cuff, us just writing together. So let's go back over it. Let's read our whole essay over again. That's one of those things that just kind of helps firm it up, cement it into my mind. So let's start out again. Go back here and we simply check constantly. Did we answer the question? The average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. It was our job to argue for, against that. So the saying, freedom isn't free, has been overused in modern American society. H.L. Mencken asserts, the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. This idea does not fit with the reality Americans and many others around the world experience and live every day. People experience freedom. These freedoms were fought for as people like you and me stepped out of their relatively safe realities and into the unknown. H.L. Mencken asserts that people desire safety above freedom. However, various figures throughout history, like Harriet Tubman and Patrick Henry, have proven that freedom is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. I'm going to take out the HL there. All right. Harriet Tubman proves that people prefer freedom over safety. Her work in helping others achieve freedom through the Underground Railroad serves as a historical reminder of the sacrifice one will make to fight for liberty. She says, I had reasoned this out of my mind. There was one of two things I had a right to, liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would have the other. Tubman remains an example of courage. She willingly risked her life for her own freedom and the freedom of others. Her life of sacrifice clearly proves that ordinary people desire liberty over a safe life of bondage. H.L. Mencken is clearly incorrect in his assertion. Again, another body paragraph. Patrick Henry is another figure who proves that common people desire freedom over security. Henry is a founding father who helped pave the way for American independence. Henry states, give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry meant what he said. Each of the individuals fighting for American liberty could have been executed for their efforts to separate from England. Execution in war is not safe. Henry proves that the average man prefers freedom at all costs. Therefore, Mencken is incorrect. In conclusion, Mencken's assertion is not true. The aforementioned figures are just two of many persons who have proven that liberty is worth sacrificing one's life to obtain. These people are average humans. They stand as timeless examples of sacrifice and courage. Maybe one can take renewed interest in the saying, freedom isn't free. Maybe. I want to add in a adverbial clause here. After evaluating these celebrated individuals. One can take. All right. So that's essentially how to write, kind of step by step, a little bit sporadic, because that's kind of the way it is sometimes. You're just getting that information down on the page. That's kind of step by step how to write an argumentative essay. You make a claim, which means you pick a side. You argue it with reasons and evidence. It's really, guys, all there is to it. As we come together next year, we'll work more on this, and you'll continue working on that throughout high school. So let's go ahead and let's figure out together, hey, this isn't so bad. I challenge you now to go through and to take what I've written here, and there is an essay checklist or scoring guide here on the Task 3 workshop. Go through and check me on these things. And you might see areas where my ideas could be improved, my structure could be improved, my language could definitely be improved, as this is a rough draft. Go through and check it and take some time and grade me on it, and see where this kind of falls in here. And then maybe take and separate it out, look at it, and then compare it to the essay that you had written, or you had hopefully written as you did task 3. And see, does my essay have these basic parts? Does it make a claim? Does it anticipate somebody else's argument? And does it back up my claim with reasons and evidence? So guys, I hope you have a great time. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really appreciate and care about you all. Have a great day. Have a great summer, and love you guys. Bye.